Hey there, bookkeeping side hustle community. Glad to have you here. We are back with Shahram Zarshenas from Financial Sense. This interview is going to be a demo of the Financial Sense practice management software. So this is a product that's available for bookkeepers and accountants. He's able to serve small solo operators like me all the way up to much larger firms. And so we'll be asking him kind of questions about how it works, why he built the software, that sort of thing. And then the meat of this interview is going to be a demo inside the software. Couple of quick bookkeeping things. Please ask quick admin things. Please ask your questions. I'll be monitoring the comments and I'll be able to get those questions to Shahram. And then the other thing I really wanted to emphasize was we did an interview with him about 2 weeks ago called "How to Price." What was it? How to know your effect?
How to effectively price your services. Like identify really if you're underpricing your services. I mean, are you doing a good job? Like, where am I in that? Identify and find that.
Exactly. I'm going to put a link to that below. I really highly recommend that y'all check that out because it's just a great overall education about pricing in general. We hardly talk about Financial Sense at all. So this interview is going to be really Financial Sense heavy, but that overall education piece from a couple weeks ago is highly valuable. You can just listen to it. You don't have to watch it. And we're going to draw a prize at the end, a 6-month free subscription he's generously given to people who registered ahead of time. We got 91 people in the prize wheel. And if you appreciate this channel and what we do at the Bookkeeping Side Hustle Group, be sure to subscribe. Now I want to get into it. I would like to ask Shahram to introduce himself and tell us an accounting joke.
So a little bit about me. So as she mentioned, I'm the founder of Financial Sense, and we just really help accounting firms take their business to the next level with our product. And it's just our focus is an easy to use practice management tool. So before we ever wrote a line of code, we spent about a year in the market interviewing over 100 firms, and we wanted to really figure out how can we help solve the problems. And outside of just general practice management, but how can we do it better? And what we found was creating something simple and easy to use that doesn't take weeks to set up or weeks of training was really important. So that's the core focus of what we do is we keep it simple, right? But we still try to drive that value with a robust platform. So really excited to talk with everyone here today. We specifically work with accountants and bookkeepers. That's all we do. And I like to think we do a pretty good job. So really excited to show everyone the product. A joke. So I've got a few jokes I've heard over the year working with accounting firms, but I think a good one that stuck out with me was, why doesn't the skunk pay taxes?
Why doesn't the skunk pay taxes? Tell me why.
Because he only has 1 cent.
Okay. I like it. Haven't heard that one. Thanks for doing that. I like to add some levity. All right. Well, thanks again for being here. And if you could just give us the top 3 things you would like us to take away about your product, what it does, how it helps people. That way, if people can't really dig into it now, if they're not ready to invest in the product now, they still know what you really the best that you offer, and then they can dive in and watch the demo later. So what's the top 3 things that a new bookkeeper would need to know?
Yeah, definitely. So like our product really makes sense for like solos, and really like when the solos are like ready to take the business to the next level. So when I say to the next level is when they're ready to start hiring a team or expanding their firm and really growing their firm. So what really happens when you hit that stage is when you're ready to make that transition is you typically hit a wall, right? The things you were doing before don't always work. You might use Excel spreadsheets, you might use sticky notes, you might just use simple pen and paper. But when you bring a team in, that doesn't always work. Because what you got to do is you got to systematize your process. You got to really figure out, okay, what's the monthly bookkeeping? How can we systematize that, or really outline the process? So define what are the steps to most effectively complete this work for the client. Because what that's going to help you do is scale. Because if you just hire someone to do the bookkeeping, and you tell them, hey, let's do monthly bookkeeping for this client, you give that role to 5 different accountants or bookkeepers, they're all going to do it differently.
Yes.
So you got to be able to really give them a guideline to follow, or what a lot of people call a checklist to follow, so you can ensure the work gets done effectively and correctly. This helps maintain work quality. This helps you scale. This reduces onboarding, training. I mean, it's vital for any firm that's ready to take that next level. And so a core part of our system is helping you do that, right? You can create a paper checklist. You can create a checklist in Excel, but it's not always effective when you have a team. You need something that's really collaborative, something that you can easily share with your team, and they can go through and task off. So you can create those checklists in our system very simply, and then share it with your team, assign them the work, delegate it to them. And then the second part is tracking their progress, right? So when you're doing it all yourself, it's great. But when you have a team, you don't know if that work got done today, or you don't know if it got completed on time. So our system, because it's all online and you can delegate these checklists to your team, you can also track your client work. Where is it standing right now? What status is it in? Who's working on it? When is it due? So like being able to see that in one click, or track all your client work in one simple view, is very vital, because it prevents things from slipping through the cracks, and it ensures you hit your deadlines. So that's, the first is about systematizing, right? We help you do that. The second is getting that ability to ensure like you're hitting your deadlines and making sure nothing slips through the cracks. But there's a lot of really great features, but another really big one we like to do is automation. We want to help you save time, right? And this actually ties back to our last webinar. If you didn't get a chance to go see it, like, pricing your services correctly, we talk about, if you're on the fixed fee model, you're making $500 or $1,000 every month from that client, right? If you do the work twice as fast, you become twice as profitable. So we build an automation to help you do more with less, right? You can get, the work done twice as fast with half the employees. So we have a lot of really great automation built into the system. We think that's vital, not only just to make you more profitable, but to help you get your life back, or go on that vacation you always wanted to take. One of the key automations I'd like to mention is client tasks. So if you ever spent a lot of time, or just reminding your clients, so like sending them an email reminder saying, hey, I need this information, and then continuously following them up or chasing them down for that information, it's very time consuming. We have a feature built in that automates that whole product. Every month or every week, it sends them the list of tasks you need them to do, and it reminds them until they get it done. And then it populates in your workflow. The data is there, the communication is there, so you and your team can easily see all that, pick up where they left off, and get the work done quickly. So streamlining, visibility, and automation. Those are the 3 biggest takeaways.
I'm excited to dig into some of that automation stuff. I want to see what all is there. The other thing I'll say, you mentioned that like, when you have a team, you need those checklists, because you might not be able to, you don't have that visibility to where you can see what people are doing. I find that I still need that for myself too, like, because I'm like a different person every day, and who knows what I did yesterday. I often struggle to remember. So even if you don't have a team, I think that you think you're going to remember, but you're really not. And then my advice on practice management software is, when you start to have nightmares, like when you lay in bed and you fall asleep and then you like wake up because you're terrified that you missed something, that's like the clue that it's probably time that you aren't ready to, your pencil and paper aren't working anymore.
That's
well,
it's funny you say that. I hear that a lot. Like the biggest thing, like people when they come to us, they say the problem I'm having is things are slipping through the cracks, right? It just we forgot about it, right? Because there's so much to go on. And also it's like, I like to say that we help you sleep better at night, and
seriously. I had no idea how that's a real part of probably any business, like the laying in bed and like the pressure and the deadlines and that sort of thing. But when you're dealing with other people's businesses too, like there's just a lot of it, and we're a really deadline focused like industry.
Yep.
We have tax deadlines and stuff like that. So, well, why don't we dive into the software? I'll if you share your screen.
Yeah.
I think I will be able to
Share my screen.
Pop it in.
Chrome. Okay.
All right, add this, and we will get into it. So this is what it looks like when we log in. Go ahead, run with it.
Yeah, perfect. So again, with Financial Sense, a big focus we have is ease of use, right? We're specifically designed for accountants and bookkeepers. There's other tools out there like Asana and ClickUp, and they're all great. But they're built for everyone. One thing we're able to really do is because we're specifically designed for accountants and bookkeepers, we can design the product to just naturally fit. Like day one, you can get implemented, set up, ready to go, no customization. So this right here is the first thing you see every day when you log in. This is like the lifeline of your firm. And when we say lifeline, this is where you track all your deadlines and all your client work. So one of the first things we talked about is visibility, tracking what's the status of work, what do you have to do today, who's working on what, where does it stand. That's where you do this. So you log in, you can see all your client work, right? Monthly bookkeeping, payroll, tax. You can see what progress it's in. You can see the status of the work. Is it waiting on information? Is it in review? You can see when the start dates are, the due dates, and this is all customizable. You can add other stuff in here too. And then you can see who's responsible for the work. So is it you? Is it another person? Is it multiple people on your team? This is really where you track where everything stands. So as you grow, the workload grows, right? So to help you keep that visibility, we also have workflow filters. This lets you get a more granular view. So let's say, a client calls, right? You want to see all the work for that specific client. So you can filter by the client's name, and then it'll just show the work for that client. You can filter by team members. So if you want to see how Jordan is doing, you can easily filter for Jordan's name just to see his work. You can filter by due date. So if you really only want to see the work that's due this week, you can see just the work due this week, so you can really focus. And then you also have tags. So this is a simple feature. It's definitely one of our top features. It's one of our most popular ones. What tags are custom filters that you can create. Every firm is different. You track work differently. You have different statuses. You like to view work differently. This is where you can customize that. So you can create as many tags as you want, color code them. People use these for statuses, office locations, priority levels, anything you can choose. You can have an unlimited amount of tags. And then you can filter work by them. So let's say I want to see all the work that's in review, right? So you can quickly see that. And then by filtering it, and you can see all your work in review or waiting on client information, right? And a core part of this is these filters can be used together. So I could say, I want to see all the work that's in review. That's monthly bookkeeping work that is assigned to Carter Lawson, right? And that is due like this week, right? So you can really get that granular visibility to find the work you want to find quickly and see where it stands. And if you like the view, right, or if you like the specific view, you can save it as a custom view that you can easily switch to down the road, and then set it as a default view too, to see every time you log in. So this view, again, is really just about that visibility. You have your high level view where you can track everyone's work across the firm or just your work, or you have you can drill down as needed.
So that person, you said Carter, I think was the example. If Carter is logged in to Financial Sense, he's seeing something different. He's only seeing the stuff he's assigned. How does that work from the firm owner to like if I were to hire someone, how does that work?
You have custom user permissions in Financial Sense, so you can customize it any way you want. You can let your entire team see everyone's work. You can let them just see the work, but by default, when Carter logs in, if he's a staff member, he just sees his work. As an owner, you see everyone's work, but you can change that however you prefer to operate.
So if you had like a practice manager that you wanted to have the whole view as well, you could grant that to someone else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So again, this is probably the most important part of the app. That's why it's the first thing you see in, right? This is where you can easily check the status of everything at a glance. You don't have to click in like some of these other apps. You can just know where everything instantly stands. So let's talk about the next part, right? Let's take a deeper dive, right? So these are your projects. This is the work. A project is the work you do, the monthly bookkeeping, the payroll, the tax. Let's take a look inside of a project. So the other thing we talked about was systematizing your firm, right? You need to really create that checklist that your team can go through and check things off. So here, this is where the checklist lives, right? You're inside your monthly bookkeeping project for your client's Uber in this situation, which would be nice.
Yeah, right. Or not.
Um,
They're a mess. Their bookkeeping is hard. Keep going.
So here you can see that checklist. So it can be as simple, just you can outline the individual steps that go into completing the monthly bookkeeping work. And as your team completes these tasks, it's going to update it in your view.
The bar. I see. Yep. Okay.
And then when you're back in there, but you can also get very detailed, right? You can make this as detailed as you want to where you can hire someone and they don't have to call you or tap you on the shoulder to ask you questions because you outlined every single detail of how to get the work done. They have everything they need. So you can put in, like, as you can see here, actually, hyperlinks to the apps they have to use to complete the steps. If you click into a task, you can add a description, you can add subtasks, dependencies, documents, you can leave internal notes or comments. So you can get as detailed as you want with each individual step, or you can keep it simple. It's really up to you.
Okay.
Which again really helps you systematize. It helps you outline everything, which makes it so much easier to scale, and it really maintain work quality as you hire new people and ensure, hey, because that's a big problem. Like we see is a lot of firms, they get stuck because they can't hire those teams. When you do that, you can't keep growing because you can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is you may not trust hiring another person to come in to do that, because if they do a bad job, the work doesn't get done right, you can lose a client. By systematizing, outlining your process and sharing that with them, that playbook, that checklist, it ensures that it does get done correctly. So you can kind of get past that trust faster. You're kind of in some ways cloning yourself. You're making a copy of yourself to kind of do the work.
Right.
So very vital part is the checklist. But
could you use that once you create a checklist? Are you able to copy a checklist and put it to another client?
Yeah. So you can save a checklist as a template.
I got it. Okay.
Or you could copy it. So we have this duplicate function. So once you create like monthly bookkeeping for one client, you could copy it over to 30 or 40 or 50 other clients.
Wow.
And then instantly get set up within like a few, like watch, I'll do these 5 right here. I'm going to clone them. And then you've created the work for all those other clients.
Well, and then every client is different. So I would say that it's probably impossible to have like a 100% like foolproof template, but it probably 80% is the same. And then you go in and you're like, okay, well, for this client, we need one more. He's got a funky, partner he pays out or whatever. And you can then take the 80% of the list and then tailor it to that custom client. So that was really fast. You just added because I'm thinking like if I were to invest in a practice management software, it would be, even though I have a small amount of clients, I could see using that. I think about my workflows first. I'd kind of maybe even like handwrite them out. Like, this is what I really do. Mm-hmm. This is for all the clients, and then duplicate them and then tailor them.
Yeah, and so that's very important too, what you said there. And you won't see this with some of the other tools. Is we decided when we built this is we want to allow you to be able to tailor to each client. So you can take a template, copy it over to all your other clients, but then now that these have been created, they're independent of each other. So you can tailor this monthly bookkeeping to be different for Airbnb or for Alex Wright or for Amazon or for Apple. So you can really choose and you can start with that template that's 80% and then add those extra steps or delete out those steps or add those extra details. So it's tailored to that client. And even more, you can set these to recur, right? So this is some of the automation we talked about. These projects can be set to recur monthly. So every month, January, February, March, a new copy of the project will be created. But over time, if you make edits and improve the project, those changes will follow. So your projects get smarter over time.
Wow. So if we were back into Uber, which you hadn't done finished for the month, and you clicked all those boxes, what happens? Like, what happens when you're like, yay, I'm done?
Yeah. So what happens is when you complete it, there's a few things. So inside of a project, when you've created it, you can assign a reviewer. So like you can be notified automatically as a reviewer when a project's been completed and it's ready for review. It'll just send you notification. If you do that. If not, the user can close the project. So on your dashboard, it will show like this 100% completed. And you just mark it and close it. So that makes it disappear. But you can also always go back and view your closed projects. So this is going to show you like all your past completed projects, when they were completed, by who on the team. So you can see if they were actually completed on time, and then click in and see all the details from the project. So what happens when the individual tasks were completed, the comments from your team, the documents, and what the client communication, which we haven't gotten into yet, but you can go back. It's like an archive of all those old things.
Let me ask one question. So say you have like a junior bookkeeper and they're doing, just a lot of the grunt work, kind of getting stuff done, maybe all the way through reconciliation and like publishing reports to like a Google Drive, let's say.
Yeah.
Then they click review. Does that reviewer then, when they log into their Financial Sense, maybe they have their own steps? So like check the review, review the work, email the client, set up debrief call or something like that. So does that one workflow then flow to someone else's workflow on the team?
Great question. So you can break out the individual tasks. So I could assign, this one to Shahram. I can assign this one to Abdullah. And then if you set up the dependencies we talked about, like in here. So what will happen is when Shahram marks this one completed, Abdullah will automatically get a notification. Shahram completed his work. This task and this project for this client, you can now begin your work. So then that way they can see all of that. And so yeah, you can set that up to really break out the tasks across your team. And another really powerful thing I didn't talk about, which is a crazy filter, is you see like how we've kind of, not one person owns an entire project. It passes multiple hands. We have a filter in here that lets you show who's actually actively working. So you can filter out to see, whose court is it in right now, right? So if you apply this filter, it's going to show, okay, Abdullah's working on this. It just shows who's actively working, not everyone assigned. So it gives you more visibility. As an owner, this is great for you to know who's actually actionable on it right now. But as a team member, if you also apply your name as a filter, then it's going to filter out all the work that's assigned to you that you're not needed on right now. So it's only going to show you the work that you're actively needed on to take the next step.
I see. Yeah.
Really cool filter. If you do have, multiple people working on multiple parts of the project and you need more of that visibility, or just really cut out the rest of that noise.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it could be overwhelming. Like if you're on a large staff and you've got 20 files you're working on and you see 20 tasks every day, but if you filter by the ones that you can actually work on, that you're not waiting on something for, then you might only have, then what you can do that day.
Yep.
That's very powerful.
So a few other quick things, you can collaborate with your team on the work. So you can easily, mention someone in a comment and make a note, and then they'll be notified in the app and via email. So you can like have the communication where the work is getting done, right? You can store documents. You can track time. So you can track time on your work very easily. If you're on a fixed fee, if you're billable, like you bill off time, you can integrate with QBO to invoice your clients off this time. If you do flat fee, you can use this time will calculate your effective hourly rate every single month. So you can see your least and most profitable clients.
And that was what we talked about last time, y'all, in the previous interview, was this concept of everyone needs to know their effective hourly rate, and Financial Sense makes that really easy, and that you aren't billing by the hour, but you still need to know how much you're spending on each client, how much time you're spending on each client. So make sure to go watch that.
Yeah, really powerful feature. So another big part of this too, so we talked about this a little bit, automation. most bookkeepers and accountants spend a lot of time chasing down their clients for information. So every month for monthly bookkeeping, let's say you need to collect a few specific tasks. Maybe it's upload your bank transaction. You need their bank transactions or credit card transactions. They need to schedule a meeting with you. So inside of the work, you can actually create that request list for the client. So have them upload their bank transactions, their credit card transactions, whatever it may be. You can give them a description. You can give them the due date. And once you've created that request list, you set up the automation, right? So here you would say, I want this to send out to the client on the first month, July 1st, and I want it to follow up with them every 4 days until they get or 3 or whatever you choose. Let's say like every 5 days until it gets done. So now,
how does Financial Sense know that it's been done? Because they're in Financial Sense too.
So the user isn't actually in Financial Sense. What happens is they get sent an email. So the user will get sent an email, and it's very professional looking. It shows, hey, it has the firm's name at the top, and it has your name and the client's name, and it shows, hey, we need you to complete these tasks for this work. They can click it, and it takes them into this little portal. And it's very easy to use. The client does not need to create a username or password, but we use an auth system to keep it encrypted and secure so they can still send you financial information. And in that portal, they'll be able to ask you questions. They'll be able to upload documents, and they'll be able to mark these completed. And
Okay.
that's all going to flow into the system here. Or you could even put a link into like your Dropbox, Google Drive, or share file too. So
Okay.
you can use other systems, or you can use it. So every month they're going to get this email, and it's going to send them this follow-up email until they check all those completed, or you can manually check them completed, right? And then you can.
Okay.
So very powerful stuff. And I'm not showing it right now, but one thing that's really great about this is now, as we talked about, another big thing is staying organized as you grow, right? You have a lot of different things going on. Everything related to this project, this work, the monthly bookkeeping work for is, you have your checklist, the process, right? You have your internal communication, your internal files, you have your client communication from the portal, and you have all the documents that they send you every month. So if someone's sick or someone's not in office one day, anyone can pick up where that it left off. They have everything they need right here on the work where it's getting done, which is really important.
Okay. So it's like, yeah, don't email me your statements. Put them in Financial Sense.
Yeah, and it's more secure than email too. You know,
Right.
nowadays you never know with email. So it's simple for the client. It's easy for you, and it automates it. Every single month when this project recurs, they're going to get this same request on the first of the month. You don't have to reactivate it. It's completely done in the background, and it will follow up with them until it gets done. One of our most popular features is this client task feature. Really powerful for bookkeepers. Okay, so I talked a good bit about the workflow piece, right? You know, there's a few other small things you can do, like you have a calendar view. You know, you can create recurring projects like we talked about. You can create templates. You can turn emails into work. So if you get an ad hoc email request from a client, you can forward it into our system, and it creates it into a project automatically. So you're not tracking those ad hoc email requests in your overloaded inbox, you know, where stuff gets lost. It can all be tracked here, which is great. But I really want to move in. I know we're probably running a little late on time side. So here, this is where you can see all your clients, right? And like we talked about, you can see your effective hourly rate. So you can see how much you're billing the client every month. You can see the time your team is tracked on the client, and then what you're making on a true hourly basis. If you were being paid hourly, even though you're on how much would you be making, right? This helps you determine, is that client profitable? You know, I'm making basically $100 an hour on this client, but I'm only making 40 on this one.
Yeah.
What's going on, right? You can identify, why is it taking much time? And then really renegotiate your rates if needed.
So I have a question about how that works with teams. So say I'm billing the client $1,000 a month, but there's a junior bookkeeper kind of doing all the technical stuff. There's a reviewer, and then maybe let's just say there's two, me and someone else. How does the two different people's time tracking work? Because I might be paying that bookkeeper hourly, perhaps, or maybe they're on a salary. I don't know. That was one thing I was chewing on today about.
Yeah.
If two people are doing the work.
So it's not like cost, like it's not going to take in like all the expenses of like your team's salary.
Okay.
And give you that like that net. It's really just how much do you bill the client. So and it's more simple than that. We like to keep it simple. Like if you bill the client $1,000 a month and you spend, let's say you bill the client $400 a month and your team as a whole tracks 10 hours, regardless of their salary, you're basically making $40 an hour. It's not on a net basis. It's on a gross basis.
But everyone who is working, everyone on the team who's working on any portion of that line, that bar of the workflow, they can track their time and it gets aggregated into this final time tracking report. Okay.
And the time tracking is pretty robust, right? Like, so if you do track time manually or with the timer, you can track it on the client, the work, the individual task, billable, non-billable. You can leave notes. So it's pretty descriptive. You get as detailed as you want. And we have in the reports, time tracking reports, where you can see, for the month, or whatever period you choose, how much time was tracked on each individual client. Were you over or under budget? And you can drill down into the details, right, to see all the individual time entries. So you can see like why you were over budget or not. You can view it on a project level and the team level as well. So how much time your team's been working as well. So you have the reporting too with time tracking to really dig down on what the team is spending their time.
Okay.
So again, this view is just a quick view of your clients. Identify your least and most profitable clients. If you click into a client, this is where you store all your client data, so it's easy to find. So staying organized as you grow is tough, right? Putting all your client info in one place where your team can easily access it when needed is very important. So that's why we store it all here. It's tightly integrated with your work management tool. So you can see in this client's profile all the upcoming work. You can see important notes about the client, recent documents, recent client tasks or requests we talked about, recent activities. You can also see the client's contact info. You can create custom fields to store any type of information like entity type, referral, when they were formatted, social security, EIN numbers. And you can also establish relationships with other clients. This quickly switch between them. And then you can also see what groups they're in or tax they're related to, payroll, bookkeeping, or so forth. So all your client data in one place. Another key part of this too is the client vault. You can store usernames, passwords, or all the login information to all their apps. So your team can quickly access the apps they need to get the work done. And this profile, which is cool, it can be accessed from the work. So you're working on the work, you click the client's name, your team member has everything they need to get the work done, all the client information that's important. And you can customize which team members can see certain clients if you don't want them to have access to everything.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
No. I mean, it looks great. It looks very simple and easy.
Okay.
No questions. Yeah.
So to tie it all up, reporting. So we talked about you have time tracking reports, which are great. See where your firm is spending their time. You also have capacity management. So as you grow, this is very vital. This really just helps you understand the capacity of your team. So who has too much work on their plate and who doesn't have enough work on their plate. And so you can easily say, how many hours a week each person works and see how much work in terms of time they have assigned to them. So like you can see Abdullah's over 100 hours over capacity today. This isn't as realistic, and then you can click in and see all the work he's assigned and easily reassign it to other people on the team that have capacity. Really great tool, very vital as you grow. And if you're looking at this and you're all red, that just tells you need to hire another employee.
So what makes it go from red to green if it's over a certain threshold?
Yeah. So like for Abdullah, like I said, okay, he works 20 hours a week. And what that's going to tell you is, okay, he has 100 hours assigned today. So he's in, you can see he's over it. So if he goes over his capacity level of what you've assigned him or where you say he can work, it'll be red versus green.
Got it.
All your outstanding client requests. So we talked about how you can automate the data collection process. You can see which ones have not been completed yet and which ones have recently been completed, which is a great just feature too.
Yeah.
Inviting your team is easy. Again, this is collaborative, right? The goal is this helps you track your team's work. This helps you ensure nothing is missed, helps you sleep better at night. So you can easily invite your team via email, and then you can control what they can all see and do in the system with custom user permissions. One really great thing about FC is, yes, it's super easy to use, but we also provide a lot of really great content. So you can see short 2-minute videos about how each feature works, kind of like we've talked about here today. This is a great resource for you as a refresher, but also for your team. When they get in, they can quickly and easily see how each feature works. So it's like a training mechanism. So you don't have to spend a lot of time training your team. Most of our firms get set up within a day. You know, if they're bigger firms, it might be a few days or a week, but it's very easy to get set up and started. Team members love it. It's kind of how we designed it. But we also, which I think you already bring this up, but I can jump into this. Should I go and talk about support?
Yeah. So that's always a question I like to ask vendors like this, because I know that I don't think there's yet to be an app where I haven't needed help. So how do y'all handle support for your product?
Yeah, so this little blue smiling icon, we have chat support. We typically respond within, let's see, what is that right now? Under 20 minutes. So this changes based off how fast we're responding. So you can send us a message and we get back to you. If we can't resolve it via chat, so everything is done through chat on the first level. If we can't quickly resolve it, we'll hop on the phone or do a Zoom call to work through the problem. But we have chat support. Everyone, your team gets it. We also have an amazing knowledge base that has a lot of articles about how certain features work or questions. But we also recently added this ultimate getting started guide. If you click this, it gives you a link to a lot of important articles about how to get started, like the introduction, how to track client work, getting set up, and other like the main features like automating client data, turning emails into projects, tracking time, and then best practices. So this is a great resource too. But you get live support with our team.
What are the hours of the support? As someone who works unorthodox hours like I do.
Yeah, I think it's 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. But we are known to respond on weekends and after hours sometimes.
Okay.
I say that, but yeah, I mean that's like the designated hours, but support's very important to us. If you talk to any of our users or you read our reviews, one of the biggest things people love is support. The quick response times. We try to go above and beyond. We believe that it's very important, and being fast at responses. You guys are busy. You have deadlines you got to hit. You can't wait a day or 2 days or a week to hear back to solve a problem. You need to get that answer as soon as possible so you can get your work done. And so we understand that. So that's why we try to really be really efficient with our support times.
All right. And you said 7 a.m. to what?
7
6
a.m.
p.m.
to 6 p.m. Yeah, Central Time.
Central. Okay. Cool. Anything else? Obviously, there's that get starting guide would be good. There's lots that we would need to implement, but it's like that short-term pain for the long-term gain. That's what I keep thinking of. Setting it up, like you're saying, it can probably be done in a day. So carving out a morning to just like tackle it all. To then never really have to worry about it again.
So because we provide you guys some templates. So like getting set up, you create your account. You can easily, if you use QuickBooks, like you can integrate with QBO, and that will instantly add all your clients in about 30 seconds.
Oh gosh.
Or you can upload the spreadsheet if you use like a desktop or other types of bookkeeping platforms. So getting your clients in takes less than a minute. And then All you really have to do after that, you invite your team. It takes, a few minutes, and then creating your work, depending how tailored you want it to be. But getting started, you could build off a template here. You can create your own templates. You can customize our templates, but you could just easily create the work from the template, put in everything you want it to have, like in terms of like start, due dates, who's responsible, what client it's for. And like we showed you, then just duplicate it over. And then you basically imported your clients, invited your team, and set up your work within 30 minutes. So it's really not that hard.
Wow, yeah.
But it comes down to like, if there's a lot of nuances and you have a lot of team members or a lot of clients and the work is a little different, it's going to take a little longer.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you really want to show us now, or to wrap up?
That's it. I mean,
okay.
I think I've covered everything, but always glad to answer any questions if anyone has any questions.
There aren't any questions right now. That there are. You are in our Bookkeeping Side Hustle Facebook group, which folks can reach out to you there, tag you there, get in touch with me if y'all want to be put in touch with him. Actually, why don't we say, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way would, if you go to the website or you're ever in the app, is that little blue smiling icon. That's the chat support. You could email us. You can join our Facebook user group. That's also a really great resource to see what users are saying. I do like to say, so we're very customer centric, which means we listen religiously to our users. I'm not a bookkeeper. I'm not an accountant. So like, this technically wasn't a problem I ever had. So that's why we spend a lot of time talking to our users. Like, what do you want to see next? How do we improve the product? What do you not like about the product? And then we constantly are releasing new features every week. And if you join our Facebook group, you'll see a lot of that. But you can easily send it to us via chat, or the Facebook group is just really a cool place to see how people are using our software, what people are saying, what's coming up next on the roadmap. So just constantly improving the product. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to us anytime. But that blue smiling icon, you'll get the quickest response through there.
Awesome. I wanted to let y'all know that Shahram has generously given a discount to the Bookkeeping Side Hustle group. So it's also mentioned in the previous interview that we did with him, but it's 20% off for 3 months. What is the price right now? We're recording this in August 2021. What's the pricing?
So right now, the pricing, if you do the annual plan, so 12 months up front, it's $23 a month per user. If you do the monthly plan, month to month, no commitments, it's $29 a month per user.
Okay. All right. And so the discount is 20% off the first 3 months with code HUSTLE, all caps, HUSTLE. And if you have any questions, my hub of information is on that URL I just put on the screen, bookkeepingsidehustle.com/financial-sense. So any future, if you're listening to this a year from now, check that site out, because we might have added some stuff, added some more interviews, that sort of thing. And now I say, why don't we go into our prize giveaway? We're going to give away 6 months free. My favorite part here, let me share my screen. And all right, so I'm going to spin. This is for 6 months of Financial Sense for free.
Round she goes.
Mario Aguilar. Awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. So guys, don't forget 20% off Financial Sense with the discount code HUSTLE when you sign up. The link to sign up for Financial Sense is down below, so we'll make that easy as you're in the description of this video. All right, we gave away the free subscription. If you appreciated this interview, please subscribe to the channel. We will be able to talk more about Financial Sense in the future, hopefully. I look forward to hearing people's reports back. And like Shahram said, he wants to hear back from y'all. So if you sign up and there's something that you need, tell him. They're building this product to like suit our needs, like exactly. We're the exact, like he said, they're not a general practice or general task management software. They're for bookkeepers and accountants. So tell them what you need so they can make it even better. And congrats on a great product. I know that y'all are, what, two years old? Is that right?
So we actually launched January of last year. So we're like
18 months.
months
Okay.
in. Yeah, it's been crazy. right now we're adding around, I think last month we added 40 firms to the platform. So
Wow.
we're going really fast. I think it's just really has to do with the simplicity. It really resonates with people. It's easy to get set up. It's easy to use. And it's like the team likes using it, right? There's a lot of older tools out there, which they're harder on the eyes. You're in these tools all day. So it's got to be somewhat like colorful and fun to use. And that's something we're always working on. So I think that just really resonates well with a lot of these firms. And it's a big problem, right? Like you said, like you guys have a lot of work, a lot of deadlines, and it's for other businesses. If something gets missed, it's a problem. It's a big deal. So
Yep.
it's a problem that really needs to be solved well.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll sign off for now. Y'all, we'll see y'all at our next interview. Adios.
All right. Take care,
Bye.
everyone.